Greetings, goddesses. Thank you so much for coming to the Amber by Creation virtual business launch. It is truly an honor and pleasure to be graced here with you all's presence as I reveal to you my business. Now, this business has been created through Milani Shani's coaching certification program, and this is my official launch as a coach. So tonight we'll go over the agenda, share a few of my keys, lessons I've learned, my story, and talk a little bit about my business and what I'm offering. So before we get started, please make a note that all of this is intellectual property. So please don't record, screen share, screenshot anything that you see tonight. Thank you so much. Becoming her, from waiting to creating. Throughout my life, I had been waiting for someone. I called her her. When I was in middle school, I was waiting for the girl who was confident, beautiful, and charismatic. When I was in college, I was waiting for the woman who fearlessly spoke her mind and lived freely, disregarding all opinions and expectations, always shining her light. I waited. I took a break from college, waited some more, waiting for her to finally show up as me. Where is she? Do I get to her by making more money? Or by changing my hair? Will she show up when I am more social and just happen to say all of the right things? It wasn't until I connected with my mentor and went through a life-changing process called getting to know myself that I realized I am waiting on something I've already had full access to the whole time. Rather than wish for, hope for, and dream about being different, I could simply create and recreate myself. Not by running behind illusions of change like money and appearance, but by making a choice. And that choice is simply, am I going to show up with confidence or with anxiety? Am I going to speak my truth or hold my tongue? No longer waiting for her, now looking at me, understanding the power that I have to create my life, understanding that only I have influence over the decision and the directions that are made in my life. No one and nothing else. Understanding that every thought, feeling, and choice is creating something. So why not create her as me? So in tonight's agenda, our first stop is honoring the legacy. That is the legacy of my mentor, Milani Shani. I'll share my story of transformation, the 4 keys to creating permanent change in a beautiful life, the current state of young women and some statistics, and then I'll talk about my business vision, offerings, and also how I can get started. So before I continue, I have to take a moment to honor my mentor, Milani Shani. I am because she is. Because she was helped and supported and helped to heal herself, she was able to be a vessel for me and so many other women and people that you do not see here tonight to live in our purpose, to love ourselves, to recover from past traumas and pains. Her work is phenomenal, and I have been so blessed that she has touched my life in the way that she has. And you'll hear in my story when I met her, but it was when I was 19. I was in a terrible space looking for answers. I had more questions than answers, and she was able to provide so many of those answers for me and help me to also begin to find my own answers. So empowering me to empower myself. So I'm so grateful tonight that she is here to share, if she wants to share with you. And because of her, I am able to do this work. So I want to give Milani Shani some space to speak if you would like to share.
Oh my goodness. So thank you so much, love. I'm so proud of you. I almost started crying. You told me you had a couple of surprises in here, but I just want to say I'm so proud of you. I honor you and the work that you have done, because nothing that I could do would work if you weren't committed to your own work. One of the things that I just want to say really quickly is that, Amber came to me in a space that was not her. So she's using this her. And, you know, she didn't have a lot of direction. She didn't know how to access her, but she did know that there was something different, something more, you know, something that she could be doing, you know, other than, or be being other than she was. And so she's been committed to her own internal work, her own healing for over 8.5 years. And I'm telling you, it is amazing to see this person before me that used to be shy, didn't want to speak up. You could barely hear when she's talking, and you all now are bearing witness to who she has become. So thank you so much for creating this legacy, that can continue on this work that is so important, that is really a blessing from God and a gift from God to be able to work through us so that other people can be who they are. So I love you. I'm so proud of you. And let's get on with it, because I know it's going to be amazing.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Okay, well, like most young women, I was raised according to a series of rules and regulations as to who I could be, what was acceptable, what was valuable, and what was unacceptable. And these rules and regulations were not taught consciously. You know, oftentimes we don't have someone telling us, do this, do that, don't do that. But we learn them by watching, by seeing, and by, you know, seeing our female authority figures show up in certain ways. So these rules and regulations were handed to me by the women in my life, just like they had been handed to them by their own mothers, their aunties, or sisters. So it's this generational trauma and pain that we're dealing with that we each experience as young women, where these conditionings and these rules come from. My personal set of rules and regulations were: beauty was the key to value. Love from men is the only savior from yourself. The only sense of self-worth and self-value came from male attention and validation. You are nothing without external success, accomplishments, material wealth, something great to talk about, some kind of award. What people think about you and intentionally manipulating that opinion is of paramount importance. And looking good is what matters. Feeling good follows occasionally, but it's not always necessary. This is what I learned as a young lady, as a little girl growing up, and this is what I began to kind of enter the world with, trying to make a living for myself, to be in a space of joy and peace. This, you know, with having these rules and regulations. And for many of you, I'm sure you know that it is very difficult to be in a conditioned space and thrive at the same time. So as we continue, I just want you to reflect on any rules and regulations, beliefs, limitations, patterns that you experience, you feel like you learned and gathered as a young woman, as a little girl. And I just encourage you to write those down as we move forward. So these are pictures from when I was 17. Up until the age of 17, I faithfully followed these rules and regulations. My appearance, my clothes, how people felt about me, their opinions, all of that was my main focus, the most important thing in my life. My entire focus was, how can I look a certain way so that I can get what it is that I want? Because again, that's what I thought were the rules. If you look good, if you have this, if you have that, then you can be happy, you can be successful, and you'll have a good life. So that is what I tried to do. Now, I was able to keep up this illusion of looks and awards from school and all that kind of stuff up until my second year of college. And it was at that point that the walls of illusion had collapsed, because I was in a space where people could really see me. They could really see that inside I was not feeling always very confident. Most of the time, actually not feeling confident at all. I had a lot of insecurities. I felt very inadequate. And I tried to cover that up by doing what I thought I was supposed to do. But people could see me. And because people could see me, and I couldn't just seem to make that connection with them, despite checking off all the boxes, it still wasn't working. They still weren't gravitating towards me. And so at that point, I felt like I was chasing behind this picture perfect version of myself, this person I am supposed to be. And when I am finally her, I will be enough and I'll be valuable and I'll feel good. Just chasing behind that experience, which seemed to escape me at every moment. And it was at this point when I was 17, 18, when I was in my first, second year of college, that it was like a bit of a mental breakdown. It was like, I have to do something different because I've spent all this time trying to follow the rules, do what I'm supposed to do, and it's not working. So in my desperation to change myself and escape the pain of being seen for who I really was, not what I wanted people to see, I turned to these spiritual practices and exercises, journaling exercises that I had been familiar with from my parents. So I grew up in a spiritual environment. I grew up around, I was very familiar with rituals and altars and things of that nature from my parents. Now, I returned to that because I was, again, desperate, looking for some kind of solution. I was wondering why I kept having this experience despite doing all things I was supposed to do. And so this expanded into reading books and taking classes and watching YouTube videos on how to change my life and reading articles, how to release negative thoughts, how to heal the childhood abuse. And so I did all of these things and still nothing worked. I followed everything step by step. And I was like, what is wrong? Why is this not working long term? Now I have a temporary, good moment, but then long term, I would still be in the same space. And I was so frustrated. My second year of college, I was like, something really has to change. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it. I've done all I can do. And basically, I was in a space where I had kind of given up. And it was at that point, I was 18. I was 18 when I met my mentor, Milani Shani, and 19, we started working together. And she was able to begin to reveal to me those solutions, those secrets, those answers that I had been looking for. And what I discovered changed my life. And that is what I want to share with you today, and the 4 keys to creating permanent change and a beautiful life, because there's so much out there about how to change, how to improve yourself, how to be more feminine, how to do this, how to do that. But no one really tells you how to keep it. They tell you how you can get it, how you can experience it for a moment, but how do you keep it going? How do you change and change for good? How do you feel great about yourself, not just in the moment, but for your lifetime? And this is what I really wanted to know, and this is what I was able to get out of mentorship and coaching. And note, before we go into this, a reminder that you can't do any of this alone, because when you're working on yourself by yourself, which is what I was doing as in the previous slide, you have so many blind spots. There are so many things that you don't know about yourself, things that you're not aware of, things that may be too painful and too deep to reveal to yourself. So mentorship and being in a collective communal space where people can hold you accountable is key. That was one of the reasons why my work wasn't working for me at that time, because I had no one to really see me. I just tried to see myself through what I had in front of me, which wasn't working. So the first key is, are you seeing yourself as you truly are or as you want to be? This is the first key, the first solution that I got that helped me to change from that space of having all of these questions but very few answers, wanting to change, wanting to really get to this vision that I have, but not knowing how to get there. And this is all about self-awareness. Oftentimes we are aware of the problem, but not aware of how we are contributing to the problem daily. At that time, I was aware that I had low self-confidence. I was aware that I was shy and that this, that, and the third. And I thought that was a problem. So I was trying to figure out how to not be shy, how to be confident. But that wasn't really the problem. And I didn't know that because, as Milani Shani always says, if you think you know the real issue, that's not it. Because the issue is something that you're not aware of. Otherwise, you would have already changed it. So I was stuck in this space where I was trying to fix something that wasn't really even the real issue. The issue was that on a daily basis, I made choices that contributed to low self-confidence, that contributed to shyness. Oftentimes we feel like we may be stuck in a certain pattern, But it's not that we're stuck, it's that on a daily basis, we are perpetuating that same thing over and over and over again through our choices. But because we're unaware, we don't know the impact. And so it's always, people always think about the big choices, but it can be something as small as if someone asks you, you want to do this? And you don't really want to, but you're like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I'm feeling burnt out. I committed myself too much. Why did I do that? Just that simple choice is reinforcing a belief about yourself, and it is creating something in your life. So things like that are so, so, so important. And learning this really helped me to be more aware of how I'm choosing and what I am creating and contributing on a daily basis, and if it's helping me or if it is hurting me. And now a do-it-yourself exercise I also included here is something I also learned from Milani Shani, which is when you want to deepen your self-awareness, look at your life. Don't look at your mind. Your mind is deceptive. Your mind will tell you what it wants you to believe. It'll tell you what feels good. It won't tell you what really is. And so when you look at your life and you look at your life as a reflection of your internal environment, then you can really see what you believe about you, what's true, what's showing up for you, what your relationships are like. That's where that real self-awareness comes in, and not just looking at what you think about yourself, because oftentimes those two aren't on the same page. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just important to know and be really aware of what the truth is. So this is an exercise that I do all the time, looking at my life and not trying not to listen to my mind and what I think is going on, but looking at what really is going on. And key number 2 is your vision authentic? Many of us come into the realm of healing and personal development because we are looking for some kind of external change. But to create that change, we have to deprioritize the external and prioritize the internal vision. When I was 17, the change that I was seeking was not authentic. It wasn't like, be happy, have a good life. The change I was seeking was to fit the rules and regulations and be happy and have a good life. So I was trying to be this beautiful person. I was trying to be in love. I was trying to have this success. So that was my vision for change. So when I came into coaching and mentorship, that was still my vision. I was working towards it. And over time, that vision had to deteriorate, because you can't do authentic work working towards an inauthentic vision. It wasn't real. It was based on pain, based on what I felt would soothe the pain that I had inside. And so in moving forward, what happened was I began to develop that authentic vision. And for me, that came from being rooted in an emotional experience rather than an external experience. So instead of looking at, I want this car, I want to do this, I want to do that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but instead of looking at just the external first, looking at how I want to feel first. Okay, I want to feel in my vision for my life that I'm creating, I want to feel free. I want to feel like I can be myself. I want to feel valued. I want to feel appreciated. And then leaning into those feelings and leading my life from there, leading my vision from there, and being able to move closer to that versus trying to go towards a vision that may or may not be authentic and may or may not be motivated by pain. And a do-it-yourself exercise here is consider your vision and the external changes that you want to make in your life. Identify whether it's a true desire or if it's a reaction to some kind of pain, trigger, trauma, or fear. One of the visions I used to have when I first came into coaching was I said that I wanted to be able to make a certain amount of income per month on a consistent basis. So every month I want to make this amount of money. But what I didn't realize at the time was it was inauthentic and based on pain, because as a child, we rarely had income coming in consistently, when I was living with my mom. And so it was painful to one month have money and then the next month, have nothing. And so from that pain became this reaction, which was I need to have money, the same amount every single month. But it was inauthentic for me. So as I continued to do my work, that vision just kind of deteriorated. And what came out of that was I just want to feel confident and trust myself no matter where I am financially. So no matter whether I got a lot or a little bit, I am confident in myself I'm trusting the process, and I'm remembering that the power to create is within and not without, not based on what I'm given. And so in this exercise, prioritize that internal emotional experience and take time to make sure that it is authentic. And if it's not, just go with the feelings and let that kind of happen over time, because it doesn't always happen right there in the moment. The third key, are you aware of your choices? Milani Shawnee once told me that everything is a choice. Conscious or unconscious, we are all fully responsible for the direction of our lives, co-creating daily with spirit. When I learned that everything is a choice, it changed everything for me, because I realized that there's nothing that is out of my control. There's nothing that I am victim to. There's nothing that I cannot do, because if I make the choice, even so far as what am I thinking right now? Is this positive or is it negative? Oh, it's kind of negative. It's kind of in the shadows. Okay, I'm going to make the choice to change my thought. And so often, especially in this space of learning how to change your mind, release negative thoughts, we struggle with it because we feel like we're struggling with something that we have no power over. And anything you feel like you have no power over is going to be a struggle. But when you realize I am making the choice to be in this shadow space, then it's so simple. You just stop making the choice. So this was so powerful for me, because I realized how much suffering I was creating for myself based on my habitual choices that many times I was not aware of, which is why, again, back to key one, why it's so important to have that real awareness of yourself. And also, your intentions and your actions must match. This was a huge breakthrough for me, because when I was thinking back to when I was doing all these meditations and reading books, taking classes, trying to change myself, and things weren't working, from this space of choices, I realized that even though I was making the choice in the moment to meditate, or the choice in the moment to journal, all my other choices had nothing to do with that choice. They were completely mismatched. It was like, okay, I'm going to make the choice. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to connect to spirit, have inner peace. Rest of the day, I'm in chaos. I'm choosing to be, worried about this, going here in chaos. And I don't realize that every single choice is creating something. And I could have made that choice in that time, like, okay, my whole choice for the day is peace. So I'm meditating for peace. I'm walking for peace. I'm doing things that make me feel peaceful. I'm listening to peaceful music. I'm looking outside because it makes me feel peaceful. Making that a daily conscious choice in everything versus just one single thing. Because when the single thing is up against all the million other choices you make, this is out of balance, and the single choice has no space to be expansive. So that's something that really, really was a huge breakthrough for me, because I didn't realize that everything is important. And I think as women, especially as young women, when you grow up and you're told that you don't matter, and that you don't matter to society, you don't matter in your family, we believe that what we do doesn't matter. But it's so important to remember that you do matter, so that you know that everything you do in your own life matters and has an impact and an importance. The do-it-yourself exercise here is consider the changes that you want to make in your life. Reflect on what choices you make regarding this change, and if they support or sabotage it, and then just adjust accordingly. You remember that because everything is a choice, and when you are standing on that, everything becomes so simple to change, because you simply just make a different choice. Key number 4, are you sourcing your power? Everyone has an innate power on an energetic level. We conduct, send, and receive energy daily. This is also known as your vibe. When I was in college trying to impress people, my external appearance and my energetic communication did not match. So when I was in college, I was using my energy or my feelings and emotions in a way where I thought I could hide them. I thought that if I hid that I was really feeling insecure and inadequate behind being cute and having good grades and that sort of thing, that people couldn't see them, but they can, because people can feel it. Just like when someone walks into a room and you can tell that they may be upset, you can tell when someone walks into a space and they're feeling a certain way about themselves. And so I had been using my power, my energetic power, to hide, trying to cover it up, rather than using it to help propel me forward. And this has also been a really huge thing for me, because there's only so much you can do when you're hiding, especially hiding from yourself. There's only so much that you can create. And that's something I had to really reckon with, because I was trying to make a change in my life while also pretending to be someone I wasn't, trying to be different while also hoping that no one saw what was really underneath. So it comes to a space where I had to really accept what was underneath, accept the reality of where I was, because then when I accepted the reality that I was feeling insecure, then I could move past it. But until I accepted it, I just thought that was who I was. So sometimes you have to really step into something to realize it's not as big or as impactful or as deep as you thought it was. But one of the ways that I source my power now with this exercise is I go inside and I use the energy that I feel inside, the feeling that I feel inside, to harness some kind of vision, prayer, or affirmation for what it is that I want to create. So no longer trying to necessarily hide what's inside, but using that to be like, okay, I'm feeling angry today. There was one time when I was feeling really angry about something. I was so upset, but I was like, let me make some food. So I made some food and I made the best curry chicken I'd ever had in my life. I was like, dang, this stuff is so good, because I used that energy and used it in a way that was positive. So whether the emotion is shadow or light, you can always use it to propel and move yourself forward, to propel and move your vision. You know, if you're in a shadow space and you want to move to a light space, instead of being sitting in that energy of that darkness, flipping it and being like, okay, well, what if tomorrow this clears up? Or what if after a few days this happens? Or what if this is helping me to do this? And so switching that energy and changing how you feel internally, which will then change your external reality. And again, when I was 17, 18, 19, I thought that no one could tell how I was feeling on the inside. I thought that didn't matter. I thought all that mattered was the external. And as long as I had the external okay, then my life was going to be okay. And it wasn't. And this is why, because it's what is on the inside that vibrates out, that matters, that creates your life, not what's on the outside. And the summary from these keys. So my personal transformation and moving through these keys and so many other lessons through coaching and mentorship, I've been able to increase my self-confidence, deepen self-love and self-esteem, cultivate real, actual, healthy, long-lasting relationships so I can be free to be myself versus relationships based on convenience, temporary relationships, superficial and surface relationships. I've also been able to generate a whole new income just following my passion, being on purpose, and doing what I love through art, coaching, and class, which has been really, really, really incredible. So now I'm going to share with you some statistics I found, because Earn by Creation is a company targeted towards women, young women, but just really all women, any women who are seeking this kind of service to resonate with this message. And right now, as far as the statistics say, close to 80% of women struggle with low self-esteem and shy away from self-advocacy. Women are undergoing or experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder following traumatic events, and are more likely to experience a high-impact trauma event such as sexual trauma than men at a younger age. And I can say for sure that almost every woman I know has been at some point sexually harassed, sexually violated. I don't think I can think of one woman I know who hasn't had that experience. Women and girls also make up 80% of the estimated 800,000 people trafficked across national borders annually. And 60.2% of American women report having negative thoughts about themselves daily. So when I read these statistics, it made me sad, and it also made me, it got me fired up, because there are so many spaces in which young women are suffering, but no one is really speaking to the source of it. People talk about social media and, you know, pressures and beauty and that kind of thing. But I feel like we're not talking about that we are all collectively and generationally suppressed. We have rebranded feminine empowerment as, you know, doing things externally, having this big success, being the president or this, that, the third, or being beautiful. But we haven't really prioritized and validated the power that is within each of us to create our own lives. And without that sense of internal power, we are powerless no matter what we acquire out in the world. And that's why, in my opinion, we are not living in a world right now of feminine empowerment. Even though we are more visible and we are more, we assume we are more in control externally in our lives, on the inside, those intergenerational patterns of trauma, abuse, and shame are still fully present in us because we are still trying to hide what's on the inside while looking good on the outside. And that is no longer working for us. So it's time to break through. It's time to end these patterns so that we can begin to, join in community, heal ourselves, heal each other, empower ourselves, and have the lives that we truly want to, that we truly deserve, and truly desire. So Amber by Creation, this is our mission, vision, and our offerings. So our mission is to create a world where young women stand confidently in their feminine power, show up as their authentic selves, and tap into their own magic by creating their lives with intention. So our goal is to foster self-love and self-esteem and self-acceptance, reminding women that who you are is not based on what you can touch, but based on what is the intangible, that power within you, that spirit and magic within you, using artistic expression to delve into emotions, to heal the self, nurturing personal development, embracing diversity and inclusion for all women or people who identify as feminine, to be in this space of feminine empowerment, not just women's empowerment, and also creating intentional lives where your life and your vision and your dreams can become realized and don't sit as just potential, or your life and your visions and your dreams are authentic and not based on the rules and regulations and what you think you're supposed to be doing at this point. And Amber by Creation, our current offerings, we currently are offering 30-minute discovery sessions, also known as the 30-minute return to yourself sessions, 20-minute I Create My Life intuitive insight readings, the Her First Feminine Empowerment Collection, the Her First Quick Start Coaching Program, and original art pieces and prints. Now, some of these are currently available. Some of them are still in processing, but these are all the offerings that Amber by Creation will provide to women to be in this space and this mission of empowerment, of self-love, and of self-actualization. So how to get started? So you can book a 30-minute return to self-discovery session. And today's fast-paced world, is easy to lose touch with our true selves. When I first came into coaching, I didn't, I was so fixated on changing, but I hadn't even gotten to know myself. I was wanting to change, but I don't even know what it is that I'm changing. Who is it that I'm changing? And what am I changing into? And so this 30-minute discovery session is all about reconnecting to that authenticity, reconnecting to your authentic vision, getting to know yourself, and then using that as a springboard to move forward in your life. The 20-minute I Create My Life intuitive insight readings is a new service that I'm very, very excited about, where you can just simply provide a few questions or something you need some guidance on, and you receive an audio recording of me sharing some wisdom, some intuitive insights, in a 20-minute recorded audio. So this will come to you via email. And you can also become a sponsor for the Feminine Empowerment Project. This is a brand new venture with Milani Shining Global that we are very excited about. More details are coming soon, but this is a way you can also be able to support women who want to transform their lives, who want to make a change, and who want to really connect to their femininity and be more themselves. And now we are also offering a 30-minute a discount on our 30-minute discovery sessions, a very limited time offer, $59.99. And if you would like more information on this, please put in the comments your name, your email address, so that I can get you the promo code and we can move forward. But again, that is a very special limited time opportunity for the 30-minute return to self-discovery sessions. And if you are curious, please put your name and your email in the chat so I can connect with you and get you your promo so you can get started. And your free gift. For those of you who are not in the Her First Academy, you will also, just for coming to this business launch, because I am so grateful, you will receive a free copy of my Rich and Radiant, Creating Your Life with Intention, the first introductory masterclass. This was the first class I did in the Her First Academy. You will also receive this, and we have your email addresses, I believe. So okay. So you can also, let me put my email in the chat. amberbycreation@gmail.com. So if any of you have any questions, any inquiries, you can also contact me there at amberbycreation@gmail.com. But again, this is a free gift that you'll receive. We have your contact information. So you will get this via email, a link to watch this class, my first class, and I'm really excited about. Okay, and now moving forward, we want to stay connected. So these are my social media, my podcast, Amber by Creation on Spotify, and also my website, ambershani.com. Now, again, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate your presence. And if you have any questions, move forward with questions. And if no questions, we'll move into our gems. So thank you again all so much for coming. Thank you for your gems and your feedback. I appreciate your presence here. And I believe that is it. I believe we are complete. So have a wonderful evening. And please, if you do have any questions or if you can think of anyone who may need this service, please do email me again at amberbycreation@gmail.com.